It's officially hibernation season. It's winter now, and if you're anything like me, as an equestrian, it's getting a little tough. I have been wanting to stay cozy, stay warm, turn inwards, and just kind of be a hermit, for lack of a better word. But sometimes our equestrian life needs more from us. So today I want to talk about how you can utilize the hibernation season and stand in your truth while also still moving forward in your equestrian life. So when you're feeling very, I'm going to say, low energy, or just this wanting to be home more, wanting to be all cozy, and not necessarily wanting to go out to the barn in the cold, this is where intention really matters. Instead of going out to the barn without a plan of what you're going to do, go out to the barn with a plan. Go out to the barn during the warmest times of the day. Make sure you have your coats, your gloves, your hats, your jackets, all the things that you need when you're going to the barn. This is where intention allows you to move through this hibernation season while still achieving your goals and accepting that you want to be home a little bit more. You want to be warm and cozy and not necessarily out at the barn, and that's okay. But the intention is where everything changes for an equestrian while in the cold, hard season, because intention allows them to show up with what they can give and what they have the capacity to give to their horse. So I want to first talk about internal and external locus of control. I love these concepts. I talk about them all the time, even with friends, with my own therapist. But the idea is there are two controls for every individual. One stems from inside themselves, and one stems from the external world and its influences. And people tend to be one or the other primarily. So for me, I very much have an internal locus of control. I believe that I can decide how I want to live my life. I believe that I can be the reason for change in my life, that I have the ability to create change and to reach goals. And when bad things happen to me, I have the ability to dig myself out of that hole. Whereas the external locus of control and individuals that have it tend to have a bit more of a philosophy that, oh, well, it happened to me, I can't control it. Oh, I don't know if I can do that. If it happens, great, but I don't know if it'll happen. It's that they're giving so much more weight to these external influences and impacts on the direction of their life, rather than believing that they have the ability to direct their life. And this is not a religious thing. This is not a determinism thing. This is solely just how you think as a person. And I think it can be very related to the fixed mindset versus growth mindset, where the growth mindset is synonymous with the internal locus of control, and the fixed mindset is applicable to the external locus of control. Equestrians need to be aware of whether they have an internal locus of control or an external locus of control, so that they can be the most intentional with their time at the barn during the hibernation season. Knowing what you believe and how your brain works allows you to plan ahead for how you'll be feeling, as well as create a plan of action for how you want to get through the hibernation season when maybe going out to the barn is a little more difficult. So the impact that hibernation season has on your connection with your horse can go two ways. If you want to hibernate, you want to stay at home, and you have no intentionality what you're going to do with your horse when you're going to go out to the barn, and you have a kind of more external locus of control, so you think, oh, well, whatever happens will happen, the impact that will have on your connection with your horse is not going to be great. The connection is going to go down. It might maintain, but it's not going to strengthen. Now, on the other side, if you are someone who is going through the hibernation season and recognizes that they want to stay home more and they have this feeling of wanting to tune inwards, paired with having a high internal locus of control, they will be more intentional of how they're going to manage their equestrian life throughout this season, and therefore the connection they have with their horse will grow. So of these two people, I'm gonna guess you want to be the one with a lot of intention, a high internal locus of control, and with growth to the connection you have with your horse. So let me tell you how to do this. First, it starts with recognizing the friction points in your life. Is it you don't want to go to the barn when it's cold, when it's dark, or for another reason? So of whatever that reason is, then what are the ways to overcome those issues? Do you need to change the time of day you go? Do you need to change what you do with your horse and say what arena you use, whether it's an internal, whether it's an inside arena or an outdoor arena, maybe a round pen, whatever you might have access to. So you're becoming really intentional based upon every friction point that you can assume you're going to have. That way you can still overcome those friction points and get out to the barn. This also means that you need to believe that you have the ability to change how you move through this hibernation season. You might not change how you feel moving through your equestrian life and wanting to be at home because it's cold and dark and kind of icky outside, but you have the ability to move through those feelings with intentionally planned activities. Maybe you change what you do with your horse, but all of these things lead to your ability as an equestrian to maintain, if not build, a connection with your horse, because intentionality is the number one factor for building a connection with your horse. If you lack intention, you will not build or maintain the connection you have achieved thus far with your horse. And I say that because to be intentional, you must be aware. And to be aware, you must have an awareness of yourself or connection to yourself. And you can't have a connection with your horse without those three things intersecting. So as we move into hibernation season or continue to move through hibernation season in the winter, just acknowledge how you're feeling. There's no right or wrong, but without acknowledgement, you can't become intentional and create a plan to move through the rest of the season before spring and summer come again. So instead, focus on what you can do today to become the best version of your equestrian self you possibly can be, despite the that you're up against. This might look like changing your plans, changing the time of day you go, changing what you do with your horse. That's all okay. The change and the awareness that you must have to create that change is what will allow you to maintain and build a connection with your horse, despite having friction within your equestrian self, being in the equestrian world during the cold, dark days of winter. Thank you so much for watching, and if you're looking for more, hop on to callebautyoga.com and subscribe to our email list. There you'll have VIP access to all of our up-and-coming events, workshops, and programs, and get first access to all of these, as well as being able to give input to what you want to see from an equestrian life coach like me. Thank you so much, and have a great rest of your day.